In a small village in eastern India, nobody sleeps during thunderstorms. The lights go out first, then the dogs stop barking. And before the rain becomes heavy, people quietly place a bowl of milk outside their front doors. Not for stray cats, not for spirits, but for something the villagers refuse to describe directly. Because according to them, if the bowl is empty by morning, someone in the village will disappear before the next storm arrives. What makes the story unsettling is that over the last 30 years, at least 11 people actually did vanish during storms in that region. No bodies, no signs of struggle, just silence. And almost every missing person had one thing in common. The night they disappeared, there was no bowl outside their house.
The village is called Bhairavpur. You won't find much about it online. A few blurry photos, an old government census, a road that disappears into thick forest. The nearest town is almost 2 hours away. Most homes there are built from faded brick and tin roofing. During the monsoon season, the storms become violent. Rain floods the narrow dirt paths. Electricity cuts off for hours. Sometimes entire nights pass in complete darkness, except for lightning. That's when the ritual begins. Every household leaves out a small steel or clay bowl filled with milk before the storm reaches its peak. Children are taught to do it before they even learn to read. No one asks why. Because in Bhairavpur, questioning old rituals is considered dangerous. A local school teacher once described it during an interview in 2009. He laughed at first. Then he stopped smiling halfway through the conversation. He said, "People here don't believe the milk protects them. They believe forgetting it invites something inside."
After that interview, he refused to speak about it again. The story surrounding the ritual supposedly began decades earlier, long before electricity reached the village. Back in the late 1960s, villagers spoke about strange figures seen walking near homes during thunderstorms. People claimed they saw silhouettes standing motionless near doors while lightning flashed across the fields. Not moving, not speaking, just watching. At first, most dismissed it as fear caused by the storms, until the disappearances began. The first recorded case involved a farmer named Devin. One night during monsoon season, his wife woke up around 2 a.m. because she heard knocking outside. Slow knocking. 3 taps. Then silence. 3 taps again. She thought it was a neighbor needing help, but Devin stopped her before she opened the door. According to her statement later, he looked terrified. He told her quietly, "Don't answer unless you hear a human voice."
They stayed awake for almost an hour, listening to the knocking continue between thunderclaps. Then suddenly, it stopped. The next morning, the bowl of milk outside their house was completely empty. Not spilled, not dirty, just empty. That same evening, Devon disappeared while walking home from the fields. Villagers searched the forest for 3 days. Nothing was found except his sandals near a dried riverbank. After that incident, the ritual became permanent. Every storm, every house, milk outside the door before midnight. Some families even began drawing ash circles around the bowls for protection. And over time, the ritual spread to nearby villages too. But Bhairavpur remained the centre of the stories, because the sightings continued. An electrician who worked in the village during the 1990s later described something he experienced during a storm blackout. He was repairing a damaged transformer near the main road when he noticed every house had shut their windows completely. No lights, no movement. Then lightning flashed, and for just a second, he saw someone standing at the far end of the road.
A tall figure, completely still. He assumed it was another worker, but when lightning flashed again, the figure appeared closer, much closer. The electrician later said the thing that disturbed him most wasn't the movement, it was the sound. There were no footsteps, only the storm. He abandoned his tools and ran to the nearest house. An elderly woman opened the door just enough to pull him inside. The first thing she asked him was, "Did you leave milk outside before coming here?" He said no. The woman reportedly went silent for several seconds before whispering, "Then don't look outside again tonight." He stayed there until sunrise. By morning, deep muddy marks were found around the house. Not footprints exactly, more like long drag patterns circling the walls. The villagers burned incense for hours afterward. No one filed any official report, because officially, none of this exists.
And that's what makes the story harder to dismiss. There are missing persons records connected to the area. There are police reports mentioning villagers refusing to cooperate during storm investigations. One retired officer later admitted something unusual about the cases. Every disappearance happened during electrical blackouts caused by thunderstorms. Always at night. Always during heavy rain. And witnesses often described hearing knocking before someone vanished. Not screaming, not fighting, just knocking. Slow, rhythmic, like someone patiently waiting to be invited in. In 2018, a documentary student from Kolkata travelled to Bhairavpur to investigate the ritual. His name was Arjun. At first, villagers refused to speak with him. Many avoided cameras entirely. But after several days, one older man agreed to tell him the full legend. According to the story passed through generations, the storms were believed to hide something ancient moving through the forests. Not an animal, not exactly human either. The villagers called it the listener, because it never entered a home on its own. It waited outside, listening. If the house remained silent and the milk was offered, it moved on. But if someone opened the door or ignored the ritual, it stayed. Arjun reportedly found the story fascinating rather than frightening. He spent days recording interviews and filming thunderstorms from abandoned fields nearby. Then, on the fourth night, a major storm hit the village. Power lines collapsed almost immediately. Most families locked themselves indoors. Arjun stayed inside a small rented house near the edge of the village, continuing to record audio for his documentary.
Around midnight, his camera captured something strange. At first, it was only thunder and rain. Then, knocking. 3 slow taps. The audio recording still exists online in fragments. People who analysed it noticed something disturbing. After the knocking stops, another sound begins. Breathing. Very faint. Very close to the microphone. Arjun can reportedly be heard whispering, "Who's there?" No response. Just thunder. Then another 3 knocks. According to villagers nearby, they later heard his door open briefly during the storm. No one went outside to check, because in Bhairavpur, Nobody opens doors during thunderstorms. The next morning, Arjun was gone. His camera remained inside the house, still recording. The final footage showed only darkness and flashes of lightning through the window. But investigators noticed one final detail. The bowl outside the house was overturned, completely dry. No milk inside. Police concluded he likely panicked during the storm and wandered into the forest. But search teams never found him. No footprints, no body, nothing.
After that incident, the village gained brief media attention. News crews visited. Researchers interviewed locals. Skeptics blamed fear, superstition, and isolation. Others suggested criminals may have used the legend to cover kidnappings or murders. But none of those theories explained the same recurring details repeated across decades. The knocking, the storms, the missing bowls, and the strange fear villagers showed whenever thunder began rolling across the sky. Eventually, reporters stopped visiting. The story faded again. But the ritual never disappeared. Even today, if you travel through certain villages during monsoon season, you may still notice small bowls placed quietly outside doors before storms arrive. No signs, no explanations. Just milk left in silence, as if people are feeding something they hope never notices them.
But the most unsettling part of the story surfaced only a few years ago. A former resident of Bhairavpur gave an interview before his death in 2023. He was 81 years old, nearly blind, and according to his family, he had spent most of his life refusing to discuss the storms. Until one night, he finally admitted what he saw as a child. Back in 1977, during a severe monsoon blackout, his younger brother forgot to place milk outside their house. The storm became violent after midnight. Then came the knocking. 3 slow taps. His father reportedly froze. No one moved. Then a voice outside quietly said, "Open the door." The old man swore the voice sounded exactly like their mother, but she had died 2 years earlier. His father began crying immediately because he recognized the voice too. The knocking continued for nearly an hour, then silence. Eventually, sometime before dawn, his younger brother walked toward the door. No one noticed until it opened, just slightly, only a few inches. Lightning flashed at that exact moment, and standing outside was someone they all recognized. Their mother. Or something wearing her face.
The old man said her eyes looked wrong, too dark, too empty, and beneath her feet there were no footprints in the mud, only water, still water. His father slammed the door shut instantly. But by morning, the younger brother was gone. The front door remained locked from inside. Windows sealed. No signs of entry. Nothing missing, except the child. The old man spent the rest of his life believing his brother was taken because the ritual had been ignored. Before ending the interview, he said one final thing. Something investigators couldn't explain later. He claimed the milk was never an offering. It was a warning. A way to tell whatever moved through the storms that the people inside already understood the rules. And according to him, the houses without bowls were the houses it tested.
Today, Bhairavpur still exists. Thunderstorms still flood the roads every monsoon season,
And when the power cuts out, bowls of milk quietly appear outside doors across the village. Most people there refuse to discuss it with outsiders anymore. Maybe because they're tired of being mocked. Or maybe because some stories survive only when nobody asks too many questions. But if you ever pass through a remote village during a storm and notice milk left outside in the rain, don't ask why it's there. And whatever you do, if you hear knocking after midnight, wait for a human voice before opening the door.